Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I believe this is the third video I've uploaded, so thank you guys so much for coming on here and checking me out. In this video, I just want to give a brief description of kind of what I'm using here. You can see I've got some Prismacolor pencils and some soft pastels that I have never ever used before. I'll link all of the materials in the description below for you guys, so that it's helpful for you. But anyway, this is what I dreaded uploading, to be honest. I didn't want to upload any of this just because it's not my usual art style. And this entire process was kind of a struggle, to be honest. It was really just for fun. And I'm glad I did what I did because I know what works well and what doesn't. Maybe it's just the tools that I was using and the way I was using them. But these were so hard to blend with the colored pencils. It wasn't so bad with just the chalk pastels. With a paper towel it was very easy. But I decided to use some type of solvent. Paint thinner actually is what I call it, and it's my first time using that as well. So that was fun, but it was just so messy. I don't know how I botched this up, but I used a watercolor paintbrush for it. Put it on, and the first thing I notice is a huge stain that I have no idea how to get out. Maybe I had too much of the solvent on my paintbrush. But yeah, it was really just kind of a mess, and it was difficult to try and fix with the chalk pastels. So instead of just putting layers and layers on top of layers on the same area, I moved on and just tried to continue with the rest of the piece until I could originally just backtrack with the rest that I was doing, if that makes any sense. I'm starting to mumble. I could tell when I'm starting to not make any sense whatsoever when I talk, but at least I catch myself. I don't know if any of you guys do that or not. It's my first recording anyway, so it's gonna be super rough with the editing. But yeah, this isn't my usual style that I do. I just had fun with it. I'm usually into a lot of portraits, specifically realism portraits, if not photorealism. Those are really fun for me to do. The reference that I picked specifically for this photo, which is typically what you need to do when you do realism anyway, not that this piece is realism, I guess you could call it that. I'll link the photographer's name in this in the description below, but I got the image from Pastels, and I believe his name is give me 1 second. What is his name? I'm going back into my Instagram account now. Yuri Manei is the photographer for this reference photo. So go ahead and check out his Instagram. I just saw that he actually commented on the piece I posted, so it got me really excited. I don't know why. It shouldn't be a huge deal, I guess, but it is just something about other people noticing your work that I find very exciting and uplifting. So anyway, just the piece that I'm doing here, I'm starting with the background first, and then I'm going into the foreground with lighter colors. I used the 48 pack on here, a 48 pack of pastels, and I don't know if it's just my inability to blend these out from trying them for the first time, or if it was the amount of colors I had, because I feel like I only had maybe 3 different blues to work with, which you can see right there on the left-hand side. Which it might be enough, and it's just my inability, like I said, to blend things out. But like I said, it was difficult, but it was fun. So I don't know, you guys, practice makes perfect. But I just forgot how difficult it was to get details in. Sorry, that's a cough. I forgot how difficult it was to get the details and little bits and pieces that just draw your eyes in all together. And honestly, you can't really sharpen these, at least not that I found too well. So although this drawing in particular wasn't the most detailed, the little details I wanted to get in just did not happen, and I felt like I had to get it in with some of the Prismacolor pencils. But even then, it wasn't working so well for me either, because I would use the colored pencil on top of what I colored with pastel, and all it would do is take some of the pastel off of the paper. So really I was just scraping off the dust with the pencil, and no color from, you know, that pencil was being transferred on. So it was a little bit of a challenge. Of course, I started out blending with the tissues, and it was just, I just got impatient with it and started using my fingers after all. I know, it's the worst thing ever. To hear when, you know, because it's like I'm breaking one of the golden rules when it comes to blending. You either use a blending stump or a tissue, but like never your fingers, for the obvious reason that, you know, you get all the oils from your hand transferred onto the paper and it stains it and you can never get it out. So, but that's what I did. Guess because I was wasting a lot of tissues too, and I didn't want to keep using dirty tissues to blend, so I'd have to switch the way I'd hold the tissue, and eventually I'd have to throw that out, then you grab a new one, because I'd be getting bits and pieces from spots of the color that transferred onto my hand, and it was getting on the paper. I don't know. I know I feel like I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm being so negative right now in my description, but it's true. I'm just being honest with my process, and to me it was kind of intriguing because I've never worked with such a dry medium, and the driest I could think of is charcoal. And I'll pop up some of my charcoal pieces here for you guys, just because that's one of my favorite mediums ever. You have so much control over your mistakes. You have so much control over your values and your contrast and your darks and lights. And it can eventually, if you take the time to put in, you'll wind up with a very photorealistic looking piece, and it looks gorgeous. So that's some of my thoughts on charcoal there. But here it was tough. It was
the end of the road that I'm aiming for.
in the end, it was a really fun process, and I actually really enjoyed making this video overall. It was a fun composition to put together. So if you enjoyed this, please go ahead and just give it a thumbs up for me. I would so appreciate it, and it would mean a lot. And go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.